bad PR is still PR. I know you know it's brilliant, but let me break it down. Number one, who they chose as their spokesperson. Not that she's just a celebrity, but she is Chris Martin's ex-wife. Number two.
Okay, so the internet is absolutely going crazy over CEO Andy Byron and his wife Meghan right now. Everyone's making memes. Everyone's talking about the viral kiss cam moment. They pull the ripcord on that moment. I don't know where he went. Can you imagine getting busted at a Coldplay concert? Of all places. But what about the real emotional pain that's happening behind the scenes? What about Kristin Cabot's husband? This man, who has beautiful children, who trusted his wife completely, and now his entire world has been shattered in the most public way possible. Why is nobody talking about him? Why is nobody talking about the innocent families that got destroyed while we were all busy laughing at memes? Because, honey, what I'm about to tell you about Andrew Cott and the divorce papers he's about to serve, it's going to break your heart and make you realize this isn't just internet drama. These are real people's lives falling apart. So, while everyone's been obsessing over Andy Byron's career ending and making jokes about Coldplay concerts, there's this man Andrew Cott who's been suffering in complete silence. Picture this, you're at home, maybe helping your kids with homework, thinking your wife is at some boring work event. Then your phone starts buzzing, and buzzing, and buzzing. Your friends are sending you links. Your family is calling. And suddenly you're watching your wife cuddled up with her millionaire boss at a Coldplay concert in front of 65,000 people. And it's going viral. Not only is your marriage over, but it's over in the most humiliating way possible, with 50 million people watching, commenting, and turning your personal tragedy into entertainment. This man comes from one of New England's most respected families. The Cats have been pillars of their community for generations. And now their family name is attached to the biggest cheating scandal of the year. Can you imagine the phone calls he had to make? Telling his parents, his siblings, his children that mommy was caught cheating, and it's all over the internet. And here's what makes this even more heartbreaking. Just this past March, Andrew and Kristin bought their dream home together, $2 million house in New Hampshire. Think about that for a second. 3 months ago, this man was planning his future, investing in their life together, probably talking about growing old in that house. Maybe they were planning to have more kids. Maybe they were talking about retirement. Maybe they were just happy. Or at least he was happy. While she was apparently planning secret concert dates with her boss. Andrew is the CEO of Privateer Rum. He's successful. He's established. He's built a life that anyone would be proud of, and he trusted his wife completely. He supported her career. Probably bragged about her success to his friends. Maybe even helped her network in advance as astronomer. Meanwhile, she was having an affair with Andy Byron, and Andrew had no idea. None. He was living in a marriage that was a complete lie. And the whole world found out before he did. The level of betrayal here isn't just personal. It's generational. This is going to affect their children, their extended families, their social circles. Everyone they know saw that clip. But here's what I respect about Andrew Cott. While the internet was going crazy, while reporters were probably calling non-stop, while his entire life was being dissected by strangers online, he stayed completely silent. No angry social media posts, no public statements, no revenge interviews. Just dignity. Pure, quiet dignity in the face of the most public humiliation imaginable. And that silence, it speaks volumes about his character. Compare that to how this whole thing started. Kristin and Andy getting caught because they couldn't keep their hands off each other at a public event. They were reckless, careless, and selfish. They destroyed two families because they thought they were smarter than stadium cameras. Andrew. He's handling this betrayal with more class than they handled their entire relationship. Sources close to the family say he's been focused on protecting his children, making sure they're okay, trying to shield them from the worst of the internet chaos. Because that's what good parents do. They put their kids first, even when their world is falling apart. Now here's where Andrew shows he's not just dignified, he's also not stupid. Within 48 hours of that clip going viral, he was meeting with Boston's top divorce attorneys. We're talking about the kind of lawyers who handle high-profile, high-asset divorces for people who have everything to lose and everything to protect. And honestly, good for him. This isn't about revenge. This is about protecting himself, protecting his children, and protecting his future from someone who clearly has no respect for their marriage, their family, or their life together. Think about what Kristin put him through. She didn't just cheat, she cheated publicly, humiliatingly, and then tried to hide from the cameras like a teenager who got caught sneaking out. She turned their private marriage into public entertainment. The divorce papers that are coming, they're not just legal documents. They're Andrew's way of saying, I deserve better than this. And my children deserve better than this. Because here's the thing, when you cheat on your spouse with your boss at a public event and it goes viral, you don't get to control the narrative anymore. You don't get to ask for privacy or understanding or a second chance. You get divorce papers and you deserve them. But let's talk about what this is really costing Andrew. Because it's so much more than just a marriage ending. His children are going to grow up knowing that their mother's affair is immortalized on the internet. Every time they Google their family name, this scandal is going to come up. Their friends at school have probably already seen the memes. His professional reputation is tied to this now too. Every business meeting, every industry event, every social gathering, people are going to know him as the guy whose wife got caught cheating at the Coldplay concert. The house they just bought, that dream home they were supposed to grow old in, now it's probably going to be sold in a messy divorce. Split up like everything else in their life. And the worst part? Andrew did nothing wrong. Nothing. He was a faithful husband, a good father, a successful businessman who trusted his wife and supported her career. And his reward for that trust was the most public betrayal imaginable. He has to rebuild his life in the same community where everyone knows what happened. And can we talk about how the internet has handled this? Because while we've all been making jokes and creating memes and having our fun with this scandal, we've completely forgotten that there are innocent people suffering here. Andrew's pain isn't content. His children's trauma isn't entertainment. The destruction of their family isn't a punchline. But that's what it's become. TikTok users are doing dramatic reenactments. Reddit threads are speculating about the divorce settlement. And someone literally made a Spotify playlist called Songs to Cheat to Coldplay concerts. We've turned this man's worst nightmare into our entertainment, and that says something pretty ugly about all of us. Yes, Andy and Kristin deserve the consequences of their actions. Yes, they were reckless and selfish, and they brought this on themselves. But Andrew, his children, they didn't choose this. They didn't ask to become part of internet culture. They just wanted to have a normal family. And now they're dealing with the fallout from someone else's terrible decisions. Here's what I think. Andrew demanding this divorce isn't just about ending a marriage. It's about justice. It's about showing his children that betrayal has consequences and that they deserve respect. Those divorce papers, they're Andrew's way of saying, I value myself and my kids more than I fear being alone. And that takes incredible strength. So what do you think? Does Andrew deserve justice? Should public betrayal come with public consequences? Drop your thoughts below. Smash that like button if you support Andrew and subscribe. Because when those divorce papers drop, we'll have all the tea.
It officially happened. Kristin Cabot, the woman at the center of the infamous Coldplay scandal and the chief people officer of Astronomer, has officially stepped down and is no longer with the company. This is interesting. She had only been with the company since November. But after the scandal exploded, both obviously, her and Brian, were placed on administrative leave, and then they launched this internal investigation. As we know, when executives engage in romantic relationships, especially one involving the person in charge of enforcing workplace conduct, it creates a massive conflict. Because she was the head of HR, firing her outright could have opened Astronomer up to claims of wrongful termination. Like, she literally could have sued the company, especially if there wasn't a clear breach of contract. So that's why her resignation probably involved a lot of negotiation, a severance, an NDA, meaning either of them can't talk about it, and the whole package. So the interim CEO has already stepped in, and the company says it's moving forward. But this whole mess is just a cautionary tale for anyone in leadership. Like, your personal choices, even off the clock, can be grounds for professional fallout. And when you are the owner of the company, like Brian was, like the founder, I mean, he put everything that he has invested in, that he has created, in jeopardy. You have to think about your actions. Like, when you're on the top, like, your actions can affect everybody else. And I think about that all the time as a CEO, as a founder. What I do affects everybody else, and I am responsible for a lot of lives out there. They should have thought about that, and they are now having to deal with the repercussions of this. So I want to know, what do you think?